I was pleasantly surprised finding the Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Boy already in my mailbox, even though it doesn't come out until the 17th. It's the 13th of February today, so this gives us a nice opportunity to already have some first impressions. The box it came in actually had the Mario 40th anniversary branding, which was a nice touch. Once you take it out of the box and you put it on the stand that comes with it, it actually can't do anything. That is because you need your Nintendo Switch 1 or 2 console in order to use it. They will play the games using the Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Boy app, which will not release until the 17th, so I actually cannot show you these games yet. However, first impressions are good and the build quality feels solid. It was a bit fiddly to open it up, but once you do, you can insert your Nintendo Switch 1 or 2 console, and you can see that the Nintendo Switch 2 is quite big. It sticks out at the bottom. These red lenses you can actually change and get rid of, and it shows more traditional pancake-like lenses like you would find in other VR glasses or Nintendo Labo perhaps. It looks quite similar to the real thing. I played the real thing in a museum in the Netherlands a couple years ago, and I was struck by how well the 3D effect actually worked, so I'm very curious to try out these games. The size is somewhat comparable to a PlayStation VR 2. However, even though the Virtual Boy is €80. If you triple that price, and sometimes that's already even enough if you have a good discount, you get an actual VR headset that you can wear and play awesome games on, which comes with controllers even. So it's quite an expensive piece of kit, this Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Boy. Now, I said earlier that it supports Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 1 consoles. However, I was hoping you could just change the two and I could easily test whether the screen quality was actually better on the Switch 2 compared to the OLED Switch. And then I was disappointed that you have to change these screws on the bottom to switch out this bracket, which makes sure that the Switch OLED sits a bit higher since it's smaller. Of course, the Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Boy app is not released yet, so I had to try this headset using Nintendo Labo, you know, the cardboard headset. And they are also making a cardboard version of the Virtual Boy. And to be honest, cardboard version is $20 and this one is $80. However, most Nintendo Labo software, this is not a thing with Virtual Boy software, and this is a Virtual Boy after all, but Nintendo Labo software often requires you to move the Nintendo Switch console. Yeah, that's not very ergonomic to say the least with the Virtual Boy. That means that the €20 cardboard version actually has some functionality that this one doesn't, because you can connect your Joy-Con to the Switch while holding it, and then you can look around. Here you have to pick it up yourself and awkwardly hold the Joy-Con in your hands, and then you can play Labo software. Again, this is not the point of this product, but it was just something that I realized that the cheaper version has more functionality compared to this one. I was thinking that since the size of the Switch 2 console was bigger, Nintendo Labo would not be updated to support it. However, apparently they made sure that it actually fit on the screen. They slightly changed the size of the software, and as you can see, Mario Odyssey in Labo VR is scaled down a bit on the Switch 2 screen. That means that it's aligned with the Virtual Boy. So I went ahead and I changed it again, taking out the 4 screws, changing the bracket, and then something interesting happened. Even though the quality of the screen of the Switch 2 is higher, a higher resolution, somehow the distance between my eyes matched more with the OLED Switch compared to the Switch 2. I understood that you can change this in the Virtual Boy game, so maybe it's not an issue there. However, with Nintendo Labo, I have no idea how to change this. I also never owned a Nintendo Labo, so maybe it is hidden somewhere in the settings. I just noticed that I had trouble focusing with the Switch 2 screen, which was surprising. I was expecting the quality to be better. So maybe I'll just go back to the OLED model, where we also have the better black tints. The reduction in pixels didn't bother me at all. So this was my short hands-on with the Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Boy. So is it worth it to buy this? Of course, I haven't played the games yet. If you are an enthusiast that wants something nice to display or something funny to display, the failed Nintendo console from the past, fun to buy, but it's still expensive. I bought it mostly to talk about on YouTube, to be honest. But I would actually recommend that you get the cardboard version that is $20 on the My Nintendo store. This gives you the ability to play the Nintendo Labo VR games like Super Smash Bros. and Super Mario Odyssey, since you can keep your Joy-Con connected on the side. Hopefully next week I can provide you with a full review of this thing. Before we end the video, I would like to ask you one thing. I am almost at 1000 subscribers. As of recording, I need only 11. Can you guys help me out? Reaching 1000 subscribers would mean the world to me. And with that, I end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time and become a controller fan today. Bye bye.